Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again with this time with a movie review, which we haven't done for a while now, and we're going over the latest entry into the DC universe, Superman. Here with my co-host, Mr. phdjeshua. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you, Mr. Chris?
Doing good, doing good. Well, we've had about 3 days to kind of just let it soak and marinate on our minds
Pretty
and
much.
how we felt about Superman.
Yeah.
I know. Where do you want to start at? 'Cause I know we do. We want to get into spoilers just immediately, or do we just?
All right. We'll be fair. I'd say, just a spoiler warning, just in case we do dive into some spoilers by accident, so you're warned, because one of us might do that by accident. Just to be fair, but I'd say we start with the casting choices there, sir. What'd you think of the casting choices?
Well, for the main cast, are we going into the Justice Gang and all that stuff too?
The whole cast.
I pretty much think everybody fits perfectly into their roles. Pretty much, I, me personally, I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I felt like he should have got a Man of Steel 2 instead of Batman v Superman and them kind of rushing it. But David Cornsweet he's actually a believable Superman. Like I can rock with him being Superman. Lois Lane, I'm definitely happy with her because she definitely feels like the most accurate Lois Lane we've had in a while. Because she's definitely a go getter reporter. Uh, well, you're gonna see it's already been shown anyway. Because they showed the part where her and Superman are having an interview, and that's a much drawn out. It's a much longer scene than what we saw in the teaser sizzle stuff they gave out. And it's actually a pretty good back and forth between her and Superman. So I definitely like that. Uh, Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor. I actually really like him as. I think he's probably the best Lex Luthor we've had. Period. Yeah, that's including the Dawn of Superman stuff. Like, cause he just feel like the whole time he's playing Lex Luthor, you feel like this is just a evil, manipulative person who's just 10 steps ahead of everyone else. And he just to me he just embodies Lex Luthor. What you think of the main three characters?
They definitely David. How do you say his last name? Is it
Corn Sweat.
Corn Sweat? God, that's such a weird name. What can I can't help but laugh at that for whatever reason. He does a phenomenal job as Superman. He reminds me of Mr. Christopher from back all the way from 1974 Superman. Crazy enough. Um, I won't lie. I think Eddie. I think it's Gathy. Forgive me if I didn't say his name quite right. Played as Mr. Terrific was a great casting
Oh yeah.
choice. And then Anthony Kerrigan, he was a Metamorpho, very interesting. I felt he was a
Yeah.
bit spot on. Nathan
I felt like we
Fillion,
could have did a little more. They could have did a little bit more work with him.
yeah, we'll hopefully see more from him in the upcoming movies. Now Nathan Fillion as uh, Guy Gardner, even though they only have him as like listed as Green Lantern, but I was like, all right, I accept him as Guy Gardner. The first time I saw him, I think it was the first trailer. I swear they did some digital editing. He had like the cartoonish chin, like I kid you not. If any of y'all have ever seen Sin City, I forget the character's name, but he was the guy that could always just take hits and keep on going. He just had that like crazy chiseled jaw that just looks so unrealistic. But he looks normal. But dear God, a bowl cut, and what a bold choice for Guy Gardner always. Um, Miss Rachel, she did an excellent job as Lois Lane, not being afraid to challenge quote unquote Clark Kent slash Superman on his ideals while not going overboard. Did a great job. Um, I will say, God, what's her name? Maria, that plays the engineer. there was a couple of scenes, and I, this is just me, where there's some scenes where she changes her hands into saw blades and launches them off. I was like, okay, I know we're supposed to have sense of disbelief here, but it's just something was missed in editing or whatever. It's like, my eyes. It's like these are really bad. But other than that, what's his name? Skyler. Such a spot on choice for Jimmy Olsen. And then let's see, who was his name? He was the editor for Perry White.
Yeah, Perry White. I can't remember. I recognize the actor, but I can't remember his name like that.
Wendell Pierce was a good choice. The editor doesn't really always matter, but depending on the universe, I guess you pull from. But man, just apparently Maxwell Lord was in this, and I didn't see him.
What's name? You saw him, but you probably the guy when he was like the one thing Republicans and Democrats can agree on that Lex Luthor is a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was him.
Damn. I just didn't recognize him. And as you said, Nicholas Hoult, spot on choice for Lex Luthor. I could see us getting some more movies from them.
Oh no, they've already said they've all signed like 10-year contracts.
Oh boy, I hope they just don't try to go too deep into this like Marvel did. Spend too much money. I don't know if they can support that or not. I'm going to be quite honest.
Right now, the way James Gunn, I like the way he's doing it. He's doing it the way Marvel should be doing it. Like, not starting shooting a movie until you have a fully locked down script. Not just making it up as you go along while you're on the set filming, which is what Marvel's been doing lately, more so than anything.
Well, that's if they can finish a script. Looking at you, Blade. Anyways, well, the thing is with James Gunn. All right, we'll speak to the script now. That I will not lie. Sitting in the first 30 minutes of this movie, folks, I wanted to like jump off the railing because it just felt like bad writing. And that's not saying James Gunn is a terrible writer, but James Gunn gets in his own way at times when it comes to writing. Because there are definitely some, I don't know if you would even call them Gen Z jokes or whatever, but they're just jokes that just, it's like, why is this even here? You're trying way too hard with this. But he knows how to write those moments that allow Superman to be the Boy Scout we know him to be. And he really does pull from like Superman 1974, Silver Age, Golden Age of comics. One of the best ways I can describe this movie is that this was, and this seems a little silly probably, but if any of y'all are fans who are our age, pulled this out of like Justice League or Justice League Unlimited or even an episode from the Superman animated series. Because it does have a hard time where it lets some of the other superheroes or the Justice Gang even really for us to get to know them. But I mean, that just kind of comes with that too when you introduce a movie like this. Because the way this movie starts off, it's like, I don't know why he did so many threes. It's like 3,000 years, 3 decades, 3 hours, 3 minutes ago. Because it gives us the spiel of what's going on. Because most everybody knows who Superman is. Yes, I know not every young child right now knows who Superman is, but I mean, you can ask the average person on the street, like, what's this S? Superman. It's almost like asking somebody what the cross is. I'm not kidding.
I think that's going to be probably the most divisive part probably of this movie somewhat, is the fact that he kind of just drops you in 3 years into Superman's career. It's like he's pretty much been established as he's Superman. He's been doing it for a while. Can we pick up what 3 weeks after he stops a war in Moravia,
Yes.
and that's where the main conflict of the story kind of comes from. Uh, I didn't really too much mind the first 30 minutes of it. I felt like they should have gave a little more time to like the Justice Gang to really get to know because the only one out of that group we really get to know a decent bit about is like Mr. Terrific. Like we don't really get to know too much about Hawk Girl. That's a complaint I do have because she's kind of just in the background. She's not really doing much of anything. We get to know a little bit about Guy Gardner, but majority of it, we really just get to know Mr. Terrific more so than anything.
And just a side note, why the hell was Hawk Girl screeching like a hawk the whole time? She doesn't really do that. I guess that was just a weird creative decision, I guess.
I get it's James Gunn, and that's the thing, right? If you like James Gunn, you're gonna like this movie. If you're not really a big fan of a lot of the James Gunn isms, like how he did Guardians of the Galaxy, because there's a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie.
Yeah, they're that I think that's the biggest problem is they're trying to do too much of that. Or well, James Gunn is doing a little bit too much of that, but I don't know.
But I understand because with them launching with this movie pretty much launching a new DCEU, I get why James Gunn was like, I don't trust anybody else to direct this movie but me. Because this is your make or break movie. If Superman doesn't work, none of it's gonna work.
That's just and the budget for this movie, if mind you, please know this is just going based off like estimated budgets I've seen put out there. This movie costs like 600, $700 million, and I'm just like, ooh. And I really hope they do make their money back, but they need to really quit going so overboard. These budgets, they're they're just getting out of hand, and we can technically place the blame partially on Marvel a little bit there, but it's just, oof,
It's off to a good start though.
it is. And now I'm kind of hoping because with this being like Superman's like first 3 years, I remember reading somewhere some people were getting a bit over dramatic about like how Lex Luthor. Okay, here's a spoiler, so fair warning. They go into the Fortress of Solitude, which not many people get into, but Lex Luthor and his goons get in there. They kidnap Crypto, and you see as soon as Superman finds out, he goes to Lex Luthor. And I mean, just goes into the office. Where's the dog, Lex? Oh, some dog in an ugly cage.
Now
Oh,
you
what'd you
gotta
say?
you gotta show it off. Like, he
And
doesn't just walk in the room; he literally obliterates the door.
he busts in there, throws the desk against the wall, and Superman does have these moments where he will, and this is still young, early Superman to a degree, so his anger will get the better of him, and being Lex Luthor as the way he is, hating Superman, he will find any way to get to him. I mean, that's just always how Lex Luthor has been. He hates Superman and wants to kill Superman, basically. It's always been his weird end goal, but it's always been weird like
And
that for him.
yeah, and he's fixated on this whole thing. Like he's studied Superman so much that he like knows his fighting patterns to the point where he has countermeasures for everything.
Yes, there's a character named the Hammer of Baravia, and he basically him and like this whole room of people are just like basically those 3 years that Superman's been around, Lex has been studying him. He has a countermeasure of like over 1,200 and something battle moves that he just yells into a mic, and the Hammer Bravia does. And as soon as we first open up this movie, Superman has had the snot beat out of him. That's why he is in such a bloody pulp mess in the beginning of the movie. And
yeah, because pretty much the trailers are pretty much everything from like the first 30 minutes of the movie.
pretty much. And I will say there are. Go ahead.
I'm about to say it's not like everybody's trying to make it seem like Superman just gets beat up the entire movie. It's not like that. I see a lot of people just making it seem like he just gets his butt kicked the entire movie, and it's like no, he doesn't do that. And
Go ahead.
I'm saying, and my frustration with that is that those people who want that kind of Superman they want that flawless, perfect, never make a mistake Superman. And I'm like, that's not the way I think James Gunn wants to go. And I think that's probably the better depiction of Superman. Because if you want that, you just basically just want to Mary Sue, where he just never loses and he just Mary Sue's his way through the entire movie. And people are not going to jive with that.
Indeed.
I guess we could talk about the Hammer Baravia. I guess spoilers, which is not really too much. If you've been following this movie, you pretty much know the big secret behind him is that he's supposed to be Ultraman.
And it's not the alternate universe Ultraman.
Yeah, the crime syndicate
that snorts kryptonite like it's cocaine to power up. He does. It's so weird. But even with
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I say it might be because remember at the end they send him look like into another universe.
Well,
so he might be.
That was a black hole, though. He used to remember Lex Luthor, basically the Ultraman that you see, is not actually Ultraman. It is basically Bizarro. He's that stupid. He's following orders from freaking Lex Luthor. Obviously, this has happened back in the animated series, in the comics and such. How do I want to put this? We may see this Bizarro character come back, but that only time will tell.
I think James Gunn does a good job of setting up a lot of plot points and things towards the end of the movie, even in the middle of the movie, setting up stuff for like future movies.
Yes, and I really hope he doesn't go overboard again with some of the like crazy plot points everywhere, and because I felt like here's like your main 5 plot points, and then there's like 8 sub plot points that may or may not get the time of day, considering how James Gunn had this movie paced. Pacing was a little weird, but once the ball got really rolling with everything, I will say it was chef's kiss. Phenomenal.
What did you think about the Kents?
I will say, considering the amount of times I've seen different representations of the Kents, this is probably the more, how do I want to put this? Not country bumpkin version of the Kents, but they have the more southern accent and everything from, or not southern accent, but like the country bumpkin-esque accent. Even considering the family had like a flat screen TV, she's like, "You may want to come see this on the picture box, son." And I'm like, okay, I was not expecting this. Now, one of the bigger, go ahead.
I think they're trying to portray them as like they're how like really old people just don't really understand technology and kind of just stuck in their ways. Cause like when she's talking to him on the phone on speakerphone, she's just yelling into the phone like she's like miles away from it.
Yeah, they were definitely older because the kids were always kind of like the 50s, 60s when they adopted Clark. So that's not too far off of a portrayal of them. The Man of Steel. Now, I'm not trying to compare movies, obviously, but I think the Man of Steel versions were probably a bit better. Just setting the path that Clark would go on, learning, or the path of what he was set forth on his morals and such. Because in this one, they really he comes to Earth, but there's a message that's sent with Jor-El and his wife, and half of it is damaged. And this is where, how do I want to say, it's very divisive, and I feel like they didn't settle this plot point, or they just wanted to leave it as is. Because after a while, Lex Luthor takes this message, and the engineer is able to. I mean, she's pulling this directly from the supercomputer in the Fortress of Solitude. She is able to gather the data and fix it, basically. And so, what does Lex Luthor do? Takes it right to a talk show and starts playing it. Superman hears that first half, and then the second half is like, we sent you here to take over the world, basically. And then the stupid jokes about super harems start coming out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell?
They did tell him basically to spread his Kryptonian seed to basically eventually over time repopulate Krypton on the planet.
And that was probably one of the more bold decisions I've seen for Jor-El and all that.
Well, they've done it before with Jor-El not being pretty much on the up and up when he sends Superman like to Earth. I forget the kind of like what they did in what's the animated show that's out, My Adventures with Superman, where it's like Jor-El and the Kryptonians are like Viltrumites in that show. You know that they conquer planets, they're warlike, and they send Clark to Earth to basically so he wouldn't be a part of that, and then they kind of just get killed off later on through whatever means, through war and stuff like that. But it's kind of like the same thing where they wanted him to go there and be a different person, don't be like them. Well, they've kind of had Jor-El and them on that side before.
I just can't agree with it. It's like, if you're going to do that, I don't know. It's always so hard for me to accept, considering you would need the Kryptonians showing up with General Zod and all that. That would make sense a bit more, because then that would hammer that part of that message even more to me as a plot point, but it didn't. So I don't know. It just felt so weird and out of place. But I mean, Lex Luthor took that. It's like all these experts agree to it. They all this, that, and the other agree upon it. It's 100% accurate. And I'm like, are we sure that he just didn't pay these people off? But I mean,
well, Mr. Terrific basically confirms that like these people know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
and I don't mind that, because it kind of like, yeah, your parents weren't really that good of people, but the parents who raised you to be a good man.
Yep.
And him kind of struggling between what he thought he was supposed to be and what he knows he is. Because his Earth parents are pretty much raised us, but even it was kind of weird when he went to the fortress and he starts talking about, he wants to hear the message from his parents and stuff. He doesn't really talk about them, and it kind of feels like he's kind of not annoyed with them, but kind of just doesn't want to deal with them. Like when he's on the phone with them, like he doesn't really consider them his parents until like later on in the movie when basically him and his father have that little talk on the porch, and he really like, you choose the man you want to be, and it kind of clicks for him there.
Pretty much, and I'm glad they have that talk because that's I feel is always one of the most important aspects to Superman is like where he derives his moral upbringing from. It's just I don't know. It seems so weird still. I guess that's just something I'm gonna have to get used to as a creative direction they're gonna go with. Of just all the Kryptonians just being now that I mean obviously not being Viltrumites, but like Viltrumites, it's just such a weird thing to me.
Mhm. But what did you think of just the overall plot and everything? Because we're trying to dance around a lot of spoilers, guys.
Well, I figure we'll continue this after Lex Luthor drops the bombshell. You start seeing social media go after Superman and everything, which considering the bringing the more now is a now moment basically. And just another side note, this movie is not overly political or anything. So, just a small other side note, that Variety um, interview that was taken out of context for some of those actors when that guy was asking those questions. So that's where a lot of people were saying the movie was like woke and all this and that. It was because some stupid Variety interviewer writing up a stupid
Yeah, he
article.
he he's done that with everybody. He's done that with the Marvel. Like that's the only question he ever asked. And you can see even James Gunn was like, hey man, this movie's for everybody. He gave the political answer, the right political answer. Like he's not trying to tank this movie. I'm kind of glad that he made a good Superman movie and didn't try to put his politics into it, because he could have put a whole bunch of his politics into this movie and ruined it. But he just made a good movie.
That's all people need to do. Anyways, there's a scene in there. Well, it's kind of a weird captive. He keeps a bunch of people. It's Lex Luthor, so anybody that's ever slighted him is kept in an interdimensional pocket jail. So, as the genius that Lex Luthor is, he created a pocket dimension. And if you were off by just a sheer small amount of detail in the calculations for such a thing, because I'm not going to sit here and try to divulge science like that because it's even beyond me. You would have created black holes everywhere and all that. But as petty as Lex Luthor is, an ex-girlfriend wrote a bad blog about him and was stuck in that interdimensional jail. But anyways,
That's,
and
which
then
is
there,
where we meet Meta. Which this is where we meet Metamorpho at.
yep.
Basically, Luthor is using him to basically imprison Superman by having him synthesize some kryptonite, because apparently there's no kryptonite on the planet anymore.
Yep.
Which is kind of weird, because I was like, you would think there would be some on the planet, not a bunch of it, but there will at least be some pieces of kryptonite left around.
Well, considering there may have been some, I mean, this has been 3 years, there may have been some other plot points or other, I mean, obviously, 3 years into this, there could have been some other attempts by Lex Luthor to attempt to kill Superman. Because remember, Lex Luthor always kept getting hold of kryptonite. Like back in the animated series when Metallo was around, he was powered.
Mm-hmm.
Metallo was powered by kryptonite, and so I mean, you deplete your almost a small fortune finding stuff like that. That's probably why there's no more. So I mean, Metamorpho can create elements foreign or that are just are natural to Earth. And it was kind of crazy, but yeah, he can do that. But basically, the way Lex Luthor was controlling Metamorpho was through his kid. Some of y'all may know yes, Metamorpho, the way he looks, his wife still loves him. Even though they never explain how he gets his powers, but they show Stag Industries that basically what is her name? I cannot remember her name. Metamorpho's wife, his father.
I can't remember because
go ahead.
I can never remember myself.
Well, her dad owns Stag Industries, and forgive me for not remembering Metamorpho's actual full name. He was a officer. Stag didn't like him, and he had a super soldier project that he's going to do a test with, and creates the lab accident. But still, long story short, Metamorpho still happy with his wife and all that, thank goodness. They end up having a kid. He looks like the Martian Manhunter for some weird reason as a baby. Weird looking green baby. Very weird. But he used basically blackmail. Anyways, enough rambling. But yeah, what did you think of some of the fight scenes, Mr. Chris?
I'm trying to. Well, I did like the kaiju fight scene because you see Superman basically trying to mitigate a lot of damage and save as many people as he can. That was the kaiju fight was actually pretty good. The fight at the end is probably the best out of all of them when he's going up against Ultraman and the engineer at the same time. I'm trying to think. There wasn't because it really wasn't that many fights in the movie. I'm trying to remember because it was the two fights with the engineer, then the engineer and Ultraman breaking into the Fortress of Solitude and fighting Crypto. Yeah, because it's like really only about three major fights in the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. The kaiju was the weird the weird Guardians of the Galaxy moment.
But it was actually a pretty good. To me, it got a chance to either show off this Superman, how he deals with things to the point where he tries to save as many people as he can. He even saves a squirrel from being stepped on. It just shows like how precious he treats life and everything. So I did like that.
I think the only underwhelming fight may have been just that kaiju fight to a degree. The one, and I'm not saying, and it's just only because the Justice Gang shows up, is trying to kill the Thing. Superman is obviously saving everybody, and it's just like gets to the point. It's like, why don't you all just agree not to kill the Thing and just be done with it? But no, we're trying to do it their way. Superman just, as always, saves the day. But
that kind of leads into him finding out the full length of the message, and then that kind of puts him into a moment of crisis, even with the Justice Gang, where they're like, well, is it true? Are you really here to do this? And that's when he flies out to the Fortress of Solitude to figure out what's going on. I did like Guy Gardner because to me he was like the comedic relief almost.
He's always been like that. He's Guy Gardner in general has had his serious moments. If we're going to do a Green Lantern movie, please let Nathan Fillion do it. As much as I know Ryan Reynolds never wants to do this again, I think he would do a extraordinary job as Kyle Rayner. In my opinion, for another Green Lantern movie. That's just me.
That could work. But I think right now they're just going to focus on him, Hal, and John Stewart. Because there's way too many Green Lanterns out there they could bring in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of something. He probably had the funniest joke to me in the movie.
Which one?
What's name? Guy Gardner. When he's talking with Lois, and he's like, Of course, he told us who he is. We're of the cloth.
What do you mean? Oh
Are you,
yeah, that's right. Oh,
I'm like, are you referring to yourself like you're a priest or something?
uh, I do like her rebuttal about like it should be a crime to have that haircut. I'll have you know there are 384 women that find this attractive. I was like, oh, only 384.
Like I said, they do it. He does a good job with pretty much all the characters. Not so much with Perry and them, but I guess we might get to know more about them in later Superman movies. But
Yep.
for his first one-off movie going in, I think he did probably the best he could do. I think this is probably the best Superman movie we've gotten since Man of Steel. And if you gave me a choice, I would say this is slightly above Man of Steel. I like the action more in Man of Steel, but I think this is actually a really good start to the DC universe.
Chris, we've forgotten to talk about somebody. The star of the whole movie, Crypto.
Oh, Crypto.
Oh, Crypto is quite hilarious.
He
It's really weird in this one because Crypto's not his dog in this version of Superman. Because the dog doesn't really listen to him at times, which is very strange. Threw me off the whole time for a while till the very end. And I was like, okay, that explains everything. And you'll have to watch the movie. I don't want to spoil that.
Well, we can go ahead and spoil that. It's all over the place now.
Crypto is basically Supergirl's dog. And what's even crazy is like the minute she's only on the screen, she's like going to different planets with red suns getting drunk. I was like, where the hell did they pull this from? And it's from some newer written Supergirl. I was like, okay. Because this just feels so weird.
Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow?
Yeah. I've looked it up a little bit. It's very odd. But I mean, it's just a different, I guess, like take on her origin story, like how she was frozen for so many years, and the only other Kryptonian is your cousin. You're supposed to be older.
I think we can definitely talk about it because her movie is the next one up.
Yeah,
I think this comes out this year. I think later on this year.
Let's look that up real fast because
I would think so because you would want to keep the franchise going. Don't just Superman and then we don't have another movie until next year.
Nope, it's next year, June.
Well, no, they got Peacemaker, but I'm like, I think that's a big mistake on James Gunn's part.
Well,
I think Supergirl should have been.
Oh, go ahead. And I was gonna say he did have an Easter egg in this movie, so him appearing in Superman is a bit interesting. Even though it was only a cameo.
Oh, talking about James Gunn?
No, Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah. But that's sad because I think his TV show is supposed to be coming out in a couple of weeks, I think.
Yes, that's what, season 2?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be very interesting.
But I do like the fact that he sets up like a conflict between the metahumans and the government. Like he does set that up because Rick Flag Sr. is at the beginning. He's on this, I guess this is like, I don't know, what is it, the council? They don't really say what they are. Did they? The Defense Department?
Pretty much like the head honchos of the Defense Department and other parts, I believe, and that are in the Pentagon.
Yeah, but Rick Flag is like totally on board with like the metahumans and them doing their thing. But then towards the end of the movie, when the metahumans kind of get involved with the war over in Baravia and stop that whole thing, it kind of, you can tell like it kind of flips the switch in his head. Like, well, maybe we might need to have some precautions, and maybe they are getting a little too powerful. And it kind of set, where that's going. It's going into Suicide Squad. or them setting up cabinets.
Yeah, they can just position. Since I mean, Suicide Squad's already done, they can just position it wherever they want in the timeline. Because they bring back what's her name as Amanda Waller. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do like that he's not forcing a lot of things. He's just leaving like these little Easter eggs here. And if you're paying attention, like when Superman goes into the building and you look down, you see Stag Industry. If you're a comic book person, even if you just watch the Justice League, you know who Stag Industry is. You know who Maxwell Lord is. You know who Rick Flag is. And he's just like dropping these little Easter eggs, kind of setting things up, like for future conflicts.
Yeah, we're going to see what conflicts they do set up. We probably will see some more like international issues. The superheroes will stop. I'm very curious as whether are they going to bring back what's her name as Wonder Woman? I feel that
No,
would,
they're going with a different one.
man, that just feels such a shame to let her go. But oh well.
I don't think that last Wonder Woman movie was terrible.
Well, that wasn't her fault. That was, the media.
Patty Jenkins.
God, the first one was so good too. Anyways, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, but the only thing you don't really know is like because they don't really hint at like any other cities outside of Metropolis. They don't kind of drop a little line like, hey, this stuff's going on over here in Gotham, or this is going over here in Central City. Like they could kind of like hinted that yeah, those cities are there, or maybe had a newspaper where it's talking about Batman or the Flash. But I guess he's not ready to basically establish those characters in this world just yet.
Yeah, and there are talks from God, I forget his name, but it's the actor that played the Flash in the CW show.
Grant Gustin.
So here's hoping he comes back because my God, I do not want to see Ezra Miller ever again in my life. Please.
His movie, he's done with it. They done with him.
Better keep it that way.
Like I think right now he needs to be focused on his Trinity. You got your Superman, but you need to get your Batman and your Wonder Woman. Those are the three pillars of the DC universe.
He'll get them. I'm not. Who's he got coming as Batman?
I don't think he hasn't announced yet. They haven't made a decision on Batman. They've somewhat made a decision on the Wonder Woman casting, but Batman's still up in the air because I'm not sure. Because they're trying to go with an older Batman.
No, they shouldn't. Because technically, Superman and Batman are around the same age. Vice versa, give or take the writing.
Yeah, they usually they are pretty much neck and neck with each other when it comes to age.
I mean, obviously.
Which is why.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Batman's gonna age out way before Superman ever will.
Yeah, but I don't know why he wants to go with this brave and the bold Batman with Damian Wayne as the Robin. I'm like, because if you're doing it that way, then he has to be like Batman would have to be almost in his like late 30s, pretty much hitting his 40s.
Well, if we're give or take, probably so, unless they're doing they're not doing Dick Grayson this go around. They want to do Damian Wayne, give or take. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here like, no, you should always have Dick Grayson as the first Robin. Excuse me.
Yeah, but that's gonna create a whole bunch of other questions.
Well, give or take, it'll set up for the League of Shadows being Ra's al Ghul and all that. I mean, it's a creative choice. We'll see how it plays out when it fully gets out. Like, I mean, this Superman movie, I was on the fence on, and I gave it a fair shake. A little disappointed with the script here and there, but hey. But Mr. Chris, I guess we're almost almost done, I guess, discussing this. Overall, how'd you feel about the movie?
I like that. Like I said, I think it's a solid start to his DC universe. I I think the people, if you people who just didn't want to like the movie, were never gonna like the movie. The people like there's a lot of people online complaining about the movie. They were never gonna like the movie, especially the Snyder Bros. They were never gonna like this movie. But I went into it with just as I always do with any movie, just blank slate. Okay, just let me just sit and watch and see what it has to do. And I was actually satisfied with it. I actually hope that they look forward to what they're gonna do with this Superman and with this universe. And I'm actually trying. I actually think this is probably going to completely obliterate Fantastic Four.
I will agree. I think it will. I don't see Fantastic Four doing that well because just everything surrounding it just seems to be getting worse and worse. But for the Superman movie, this movie has to carry a lot on its shoulders, and that's what scares me. Is that this is a step in the right direction for them, and it was decently done. James Gunn just kind of gets in his way with the script writing again. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, having a monkey farm writing up terrible tweets about Superman, but God Almighty, whatever.
And right now is the box office. U.S. box office weekend take-in was 122 million. Worldwide was 217 million. So it's off to a good start.
That's a quarter of its projected budget.
It's a what's the name? If you look at the numbers, it's ahead of Man of Steel. It's slightly behind BVS.
God, let's
But
hope
I'm
we
like,
never
okay,
have
man,
that
that's
again.
I'm like, man, that movie was gonna make that movie was gonna make money. It's Batman and Superman for the first time in a movie. Like
Yep.
you can't really put that in there and try to compare the movie.
And this is the first Superman movie we've had in the last 10 years. God, that feels weird saying that. Oof.
Because Man of Steel, because BVS was supposed to be Man of Steel too, and what's the name? Snyder has said that basically the studio wanted to force Batman in there.
Oh well, we saw how that turned out. But if they're gonna bring in Darkseid, like at least bring it, because it sucks seeing at the end of I sat through the 4 hours of that Snyderverse Justice League, and it was so much wasted potential of like the Darkseid and all that. Because man, there were some good casting choices like Granny Goodness and other subordinates under Darkseid. Anyways, this I will say, James Gunn's Superman is a solid 6 out of 10. I'll recommend watching it if you have time. If not, just wait for it to come out on a streaming service, rental service.
Yeah. I say it's a 7 out of 10.
That's fair.
I think everybody should at least don't just listen to people online talking about how bad the movie is. Actually, go watch the movie and form your own opinion on it.
I'll reiterate on that. Don't read the daggum Rotten Tomato review critics. Read the audience reviews if you're going to read anything, because that's the word of mouth anyways. And word of mouth will always be the best form of advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, folks, that's going to be it for us. Anything else, Mr. Chris?
No, I think we got pretty much all of it. Because we were trying to avoid a lot of spoilers, so it definitely had us jumping around a lot.
I'll try to make sure to have some more like posted notes for my bullet points for this next time. Other than that, folks, y'all take it easy.
Yep.